Hey, tell you what. I don't know if we're gonna get a chance to do this again. Depending on what we say.
Yeah, this may really be the last podcast.
Might as well go and toast it up. Hey,
What's going on, y'all? It's your girl Shannon,
it's your man Terance J.
and this is
The Last Podcast.
And why is this the last podcast?
I'm telling you, man. I don't know what we're gonna say. I don't know if what we say is gonna allow us to be able to come back next week. Okay. FCC has already sent us letters and said, listen, be careful.
Please be careful.
Yeah, as y'all see, there are people getting canceled left and right. So we don't know. This just might be the last podcast. So make sure you tune in.
Please,
tell a friend.
Please. Oh, and let me give my disclaimer.
Yeah.
Anything that you hear during the show, we will still be friends after the show. I don't care what y'all think.
Don't matter what you think.
It don't matter.
Yeah, we'll still be friends.
Also, the most important disclaimer.
All right.
If you are offended
Yeah.
by fat shaming,
Yeah.
log out and don't come back.
Because as you can see, she's a card-carrying member of that club right now. And
he's wearing his daughter's shirt. So
So if that's a problem for you, just log out and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Don't email us.
don't email us because we will talk about you in the next show.
Yeah, we say
Bad.
names and everything.
Yeah.
So don't come. I can't believe you guys. Yeah, we did.
yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
don't do that.
Just
all right?
go talk to your pastor or your therapist or your baby mama. Just don't come to us.
Anybody but us. All
Anybody
right?
but us.
So that's a disclaimer. Wanted to give you that first, so you know you can't say nobody told you. You know what people say? Ain't nobody ever tell me.
Ain't nobody told me nothing.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? We just told you. Okay.
Yeah, man, the last podcast.
Yeah. Welcome, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you to everybody who's tuning in. I'm going to give you guys a little background. He and I we were best friends, but...
Were? That's
well,
past tense.
I thought we were best friends since the 7th grade. He said the 8th grade. Maybe we're not best friends at all. But anyway, so he's been begging me to do this show. I'm like...
Hold on.
I'm like, okay, I'll come help you with your little show. Help you with
Hater
your
talk.
Help you with your little studio. I mean, I know you need some ratings, so I help you with your little ratings. So
Well, y'all, let me tell you something. So, she's been looking up to me for a long time. All right,
Here
and
we
I'm
go.
glad I take that. I
Here
take
we
that
go.
role
Here we
very
go.
seriously. You know, when somebody looks up to you, you want to make sure that you fulfill that, space in their life. And so I appreciate you.
First of all, he's not that much taller than me for me to be looking up to anything. But
You don't look up to me?
no,
Exhibit A.
I was trying to see where your hairline was.
Listen, I'm trying to let you know. So this was probably what, sophomore year?
Sophomore year, yep,
Yeah.
that's us.
So
And even then, his hairline was gone. I was like, ooh, I don't know how I'm gonna tell
hairline
him.
was on point back then. Waves 1 on 1,000. Okay.
I don't remember any of that. But you know, who am I to judge?
You know, I had the waves, so don't let her hate on me. It was on
Your hairline was waving goodbye.
Am I allowed to give you the finger in person? I mean, I give it to you on Facebook, but yeah. So,
Okay.
But you know what, man? It's as you can see, we've been rocking for a long time.
We have.
And so this show's a long time coming. A lot of people have been asking us to.
Yes.
When are y'all gonna do a show?
Yes.
And
If you follow us on social media, then you know, and this is tame.
very much so.
Very much so. So
we
you
don't know how long we can keep the reins on it.
That's why this is going to be
The
last podcast.
So we don't know. So we gonna try. Listen, I was warned before the show. Make sure when you and Shannon get on that show, you behave yourself. Y'all got family watching, and y'all can affect people's lives. So shout out to my wife for that cloud over the top of my head on that.
Thanks,
So
Samara.
I was
We'll
like,
try.
we will try. We don't know. I was just wondering. You got me like Diddy got Nick Cannon. If anything were to go wrong, we'll get to that later on in the show.
We will. We
Yeah,
will.
Yeah.
So, in trying to figure out what we were going to talk about for our first show, I was thinking, what do we not talk about? Because the year 2020 has been the longest year ever.
Felt like a decade.
and a decade is 10 years. He thought it was 5,
I
but
did
that's
not.
okay. He did.
No, listen.
He thought it was 5.
She said
and I
this
was
has
like,
been a longer
"Ooh,
decade.
child, who gonna tell him?"
I said it's been worth at least 5 years. At least. That's called sarcasm. Do you not understand what I was saying?
Do
If it's not a decade.
do I not understand?
Do you not understand what I'm saying? If it's not a decade, it's at least 5 years. That's what I said.
Yeah, but
some people can't read, so
Oh.
that's why
Oh,
she had a misunderstanding on what I said. Okay.
gotcha.
Mhm.
We'll come back to that later. The illiterate one. So, anyways, I was thinking, okay, we can just summarize 2020. I mean, we are only in the month of July, but it feels like we've been in 2020 for at least for real 10 years.
Yeah.
So, I guess we'll start with the devastating news of Kobe Bryant and the passing of Kobe and his daughter Gigi. That was in January 26th.
I think it was 26. Yeah.
26.
Yeah.
And that kind of just started a downhill trend. We have not been able to
Recover since.
No, we have not.
And that was kind of devastating. You know what? People who didn't even like Kobe as a basketball player was like, wow.
I didn't like Kobe really as anything, but I was.
She lied on Kobe, y'all.
I did not lie on Kobe.
Yo, let's put it out there. We're going to put it out there. What'd you say the boy
Too
did?
soon.
Is it too soon?
Too soon.
What'd you say the boy did
Because
to the
if y'all come for me the way Snoop came for Gail, guess what? I'm gonna talk about your mamas. So don't come for me.
Tell the people what you said Kobe did to the girl in Denver.
He used peanut butter.
He didn't use no
Crunchy.
Where you say you put peanut butter at?
Slathered it on.
I've been arguing with this girl forever. Like Kobe put peanut butter in that girl.
It's
ass.
on Wikipedia.
It ain't on no damn Wikipedia.
Let's move on.
Don't do my boy like that.
Well, I was not a Kobe fan at all. However, I was extremely hurt by, of course, the tragedy of he and his daughter and the other people in the helicopter, and you really got to see him as a person. Because I used to think Kobe was just very arrogant as a man, and as a basketball player I can understand, but as a person I thought he was extremely arrogant. But I was able to see a different side of Kobe, and he was, no matter how I felt about him, I know he was like one of the greatest. So losing a great person is in our lifetime is hard. So
yeah, so shout out to Julius Jones. You better not say nothing about Kobe. Yeah, that's right. Don't say nothing about Kobe. He did not spread peanut butter.
Hey, Julius.
On that girl. She said
crunchy.
That.
It was
she
crunchy.
Said that. You can follow her at Shannon Pruitt Lee. You can follow her.
You can follow me.
Don't come my way with that.
Okay.
I'm KB24 all day long.
So that led us into Gail and Snoop.
Now, this was a firestorm that started because it was right after the helicopter crash. Mm. Then Gail decided she was going to interview Lisa Leslie, and the interview went a little left.
Yes, and I will say, shout out to Lisa Leslie because she handled that very well.
Yes, she did.
And
because that was her homeboy.
And I understand Gail was trying to be edgy, maybe provocative in her journalism. I think when she asked the question, Lisa Leslie answered it. She should have just stopped then, and she would have been able to maintain her journalistic integrity. Mm-hmm. When she kept pressing, that, and I was upset also. I just felt like Snoop, and a lot of more people, kind of went. I think they went too far when they attacked Gail.
Okay, and so now the emotions was coming off high. So can we break it down and first of all say that no, I don't think Snoop was right for saying that on a public platform like that.
What did he say?
Well, he what did he call it? A dog face bitch?
Dog head.
Dog head, yeah.
And when I look at her, she has a dog head.
Did you just really? Is that what? Hey, that's probably why this is probably called
the last podcast.
You can't do that black woman like that.
I mean,
now. Okay, so what was the difference? Because Snoop called her a bitch. Is that the difference? Because you just said that she got a dog head.
I mean, she does have on this picture. She has a dog head. I'm not saying it's a bad dog head. You know, dogs have cute heads.
What's a good head? Pause. Wait a minute. That's not what I meant. So
moving on. Yeah. So I did not agree with Snoop. Snoop attacked her in a vicious way.
He was upset.
He was upset. He was upset. However, here's my question. Where were the... And that may have been some, I can't remember this happened. So much happened in between that time. Mm-hmm. But where were the other black men that should have stood up and said, hey... I feel like there was somebody who stood up and said...
Probably Terry Crews, probably.
He's not in the lineup, but we're gonna talk about Terry Crews.
It's probably Terry Crews. He probably came out because Terry Crews.
It was not.
He be on it looking for our mess ups and our mistakes.
I've been in Facebook jail plenty of times for calling people coons, but Terry Crews.
You know what, man? And I know he ain't even on the lineup for today's show.
He's not, but.
And I'm gonna tell you, I got a chance to interview the dude. Real cool, real nice, gracious. But I think he just be trying too hard.
I think he's trying to please the people who pay him. Now, if you got Nick Cannon money, you ain't got to do that. But we'll get to that later.
Yeah. You're probably right.
Okay.
It's just because I can't let a man grab me in the balls and then be like, yo, because I'm gonna tell you, I'm going to jail.
Okay, so
people bail money ready.
Okay, so that was my question. So in that moment, another grown man with his big, strong hands and broad shoulders grab you in your balls, and you just what?
Balls all in his hand. He grabbed him. He probably twisted a little bit too.
And this is why we may not be back next week.
So you're asking, like, as a man, what do you do? I'm gonna tell you this. I cannot listen. I'll shout out to him and whatever decision he made. He said his wife told him don't do it. He wouldn't have been where.
But
he
his
is
wife
now.
don't own a pair of balls. He does.
Question: Could he had told his wife not to slap a woman if she came up and grabbed her boobs?
No.
So how does that work on the reverse? I don't know.
I just feel like his wife should have told him, you need to go find him. You need to pull up, okay?
Well, he said he didn't want to be the angry black man.
He grabbed your balls. It is okay to be angry once you...
Sometimes it calls for you to be angry. And I'm going to tell you what, if that means that you got to work for UPS for the rest of your life, then that's what you got to do.
Hey.
But
or just go around showing him how he make his pecs. Just go to... White people love that, so...
Could have been a personal trainer. You could have been the next Billy Blanks. Billy Blanks made a lot of money.
Yes, he did.
Could have been Billy Blanks.
I used to top on my ass off.
You did?
Hush.
How long ago you stopped that? Because don't look like she did.
About the same time your hairline left. Okay. Moving on.
All right.
So after the debacle, we were introduced to the coronavirus. Now let me just say this: we were hearing about the coronavirus like in early December.
Yeah.
But how Americans are. It was in China. It ain't got nothing to do with us. We don't care about that. We Americans. That's all we do. We want our Confederate flags. We want to drink our beer.
We don't want our Confederate flags, okay?
Some of y'all do. No. I am a Pan-African, but we'll talk about that later.
You're a pan of brownies.
So the coronavirus hit and shut down everything, and people lost their minds. I felt like we were like in a episode of The Walking Dead.
Listen, man, it was definitely like you were watching a movie or something, and it was like, no, this is real life.
Yeah.
And so I think that was the biggest thing. Is like, okay, eventually something is going to happen. And we're going to come out of this. And then something is going to happen, and then we're going to come out of this. And then your boy came out, and I'm going to tell you how much they had no idea of what was going on. Your boy came out and said, you know what? By the time it gets hot, it's going to go away. In April,
it should go away.
Guess what? It got hot, and this shit got worse.
Well, let me just say this. Let me back up. what I did enjoy about the coronavirus is seeing those fights of people fighting over toilet tissue. I mean, I really enjoyed those. So if you have some more of those, send me those. It's my guilty pleasure.
That was probably one of the sadder
Highlights.
times in our country, Shannon.
Oh, we've had sadder.
I mean, just
We've had sadder.
modern history, I should say, where
We've had sadder.
I mean,
Yeah. Anyway,
okay, you got it.
so the coronavirus hit. Everything shut down. Now it was sad that people lost their lives. People have lost their livelihoods, and of course, anybody who knows me know how I feel about Cheeto Hitler.
Okay, so we had this conversation, and so I got to ask you now since we are on air.
Yeah.
You started talking about people losing their livelihoods and things like that. So you made a statement to me that you start feeling bad because, let's face it, some of us in some of this time, our job has continued if we are essential workers,
Yeah.
or, and then if you were able to maybe, invest in the stock market and things like that. So some of our lives have not taken that drastic of a hit because our
Right.
jobs kept us employed.
Right.
We didn't change anything. But you said you feel bad.
I felt I
or
felt
you have
guilty.
Feel guilty.
I
That's what it is.
had a guilty feeling because honestly, I thrived. And I thrived. This is probably one of my best years. And I felt guilty because there were people around me who were struggling, and everywhere I turned, I was getting a blessing in some type of way. Even my fight with the IRS, that'll be another story.
Still ain't got that shit.
I wasn't even talking about that part.
That's a sore spot for you, huh?
Very sore spot. But I was feeling guilty because I'm like, there's so many people around me that I personally knew that were going through things, and here I was, people were losing their jobs. Here I was working 2 jobs, and I was in my investments. I invested $200, and the next thing I know, I had $2,000. The next thing I know, I had $6,000. And it was
You borrow some money.
no. I never let black people borrow money.
We're gonna talk about Black Lives Matter later.
Well, we'll get to that then.
God dang.
But yeah, so I felt bad, but I would feel blessed, and then I would feel guilty for being blessed.
I didn't feel guilty.
Well, you have no compassion.
I
so.
don't have what they call global compassion.
You don't have compassion.
I
Point
got
blank in a
compassion.
period.
I got compassion. I've been friends with you for a long time. I've had to have compassion. But the thing is that I it's just kind of like one of those things where I feel for people, but I don't have a guilt on myself because I've been able to be lucky enough to be somebody who is in the essential worker field, and my job kept going. Because guess what? There's a lot of people I know who's on unemployment, and they're making more money now than they were while they was working, and they were able to be at home, and I had to continue to go out there and be like in the risk zone. So it was kind of like every day I get up and it's a whole nother level of anxiety that you have of like, yo, it's today to day.
Right.
Please don't come around me. Let me move back. So it's almost it's just gives and takes now. Like I said, financially it didn't affect me like it did some other people.
Right.
Shout out to everybody who's been able to make more money on unemployment. By the time, government finally did something to help some people.
It's about time.
So, and I ain't mad at you. So keep getting it.
I'm not either. I see a lot of people, on Facebook who say what people should be doing. Look, sell them people business. Sell those people pockets, because they probably worked 20-some years, and all of a sudden, because of the coronavirus, they making good money and doing good for themselves.
Let them have it.
Let them have it.
Yeah. So hopefully y'all stacking that money and getting ready for whatever the next chapter.
Let me say
is.
this. Donald Trump is going to try to put in another stimulus check right before the election. Don't fall for it. You spend that check before you go to the voting booths here, but do not vote for this idiot. But we'll get to that later. If we have another show.
And here's the thing. The election coming up is still, I hope we are close enough to the emotional roller coaster to getting voted out. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, apathy helps the Republican Party.
And black people are the most apathetic.
Not just black people, young people and minorities in general. We have
Well,
to
I'm
have
talking about-
emotion to be able to actually
well,
move.
yeah, this is true.
Because we don't really know. We really don't know the process. So we just got to be. Watch this. This is what I break it down to. If it's a party, we're there.
Yeah.
So presidential election is a party. We're there. Midterms, not
We're not
really a
there.
party. We're
Yeah.
not there. You know, protest in the street, it's a party. We're there. City council meeting, it's not a party. We ain't there. So everything has to kind of affect our emotion and almost feel like it's a
In
party.
order for us to, okay.
Exactly.
I
and
get
that becomes our biggest downfall.
Well, think about you not gonna be able to party if you this fool get back in office.
Look, there's some people party right now. They told people to lock down and they still was partying. So they didn't give a damn about none of that.
This is true.
So
This
and
is
then
true.
and then you had people going around protesting the lockdown. You got your girl up in the salon of North Dallas.
Okay.
Who was like,
So here's my thing. For Wiggs cousins, and if you grew up in Dallas and listened to K104 in the mornings, you know who Wiggs cousins are, right? They want to be oppressed so badly. Why are you mad that you have to wear a mask? Like you really mad?
a lot of your uncles and granddads wore them and they got by with them just okay.
Just
I
fine.
said a lot. They say all of them. So if it ain't one yours,
Yeah.
don't come for me. Okay.
And if it was, but so I saw this interview, or whatever it was. This lady was saying that the mask is against God's will because the mask is covering up God's beautiful oxygen, and I'm like, is she serious?
Was that the lady who got a salon shut down and said that? Or that's
No,
somebody
no.
else?
This is another one of Wiggs' cousins.
Listen, and then this is what upset me, right? So she had the nerve to come down to South Dallas. For those of you who are not in Dallas, South Dallas is generally the place where a lot of black people are, right?
South Dallas has Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Boulevard.
There you
Enough
go.
said.
All right. So she comes down, she goes to a barbershop, and she holds court. And she's down there like, you know what?
And when he says holds court, he is not.
Oh no, she stood in the middle.
Yeah.
She had the crowd around her. She looked like a Baptist preacher on a Sunday morning. So she had a little bag on her hand, and she's like, you know what?
And guess what they were doing?
You know what?
Sickening.
I want to sponsor somebody to go through. I met a lot of women when I was in jail. When I was in jail for all of 12 hours. I met a lot of them. They said that we don't have the opportunity, so I want to sponsor somebody to go through barber and beauty school. So I'm gonna sponsor one person. And she got more than $500,000. I'm gonna sponsor one person. It was $12,000. Okay, so I'm gonna sponsor one person to go through, and everybody was like, "Oh yeah," and I was like, "Really? Okay." And then that wasn't the kicker. The kicker is when she stood there and said, "I don't ever want nobody to say nobody comes down." To South Dallas because I did.
Your first time ever, probably.
Who in the hell are you?
And she probably went home and bathed in hand sanitizer afterwards.
And I'm sitting there saying, why do you think black people need a savior? But you say you come down. Oh, I done messed up the whole screen behind us and everything. My bad. This might be the last podcast, so it doesn't even matter.
I mean, I told y'all he was illiterate when we first started. Special.
Keep going.
But yeah. So the whole. Let's talk about the whole white savior thing. Because you and I have had this conversation
Absolutely.
more than once. Black people always feel like we need a savior, a white savior. And my theory is on that, it's because when we were in captivity as slaves, nobody black was coming to save us. Which I have a problem with Africa, but that's a different.
Africa ain't did nothing to us, okay?
Right. So I guess, it comes from, we were looking for somebody to free us from captivity. The only person that could free us from captivity was a white person because a white person had us in captivity. So that white savior complex has been embedded and ingrained in us, and it has passed down because we will listen to a white person tell us
Mm-hmm.
how good we are and how much they want to help us and how what shape we're in, and we yeah. When a black person says it, it's man, I don't know what we're talking about. You know?
You know what? But you also got to understand is that the image of what Jesus was portrayed also showed that it needs to look like that. So it was really a psychological thing
Right.
to have us not trust each other. We had to trust somebody who looked like the Jesus of the way it was painting.
Right.
And the thing is, if you read versus what you see in the painting,
I,
I'm
th-
always looking
I
at it
thought
saying,
you were about to. I thought you were about to spit a scripture. I
No.
was going to say, now let me move back
No.
because who I'm not going to play with Jesus.
but you know what? You look at it, talking about hair of wool and skin of bronze and eyes of fire, and you look at the region on where this stuff was taking place at, and the dude that they painted up in a lot of these churches. And let me tell you something.
Cesare Borgia.
Let me tell you this. For all my black people out there, okay, if y'all got that picture up in your church, please take it down today.
Yeah.
Because it's a form of psychological
fine.
warfare.
And
Okay?
and on top of that, I mean, just take a geography class,
It's pretty simple.
and we will get to that because we get into Nick Cannon. But let's move on.
Yeah,
because
so-
this is an hour show. We relate.
But yeah, so that's the thing. And so to wrap that up, and the thing is that you got to understand when she says we always look for a white savior, there is some distrust within our community that. And matter of fact, we were in class together, and a guy was teaching us
Yeah,
history,
he
and he
was.
made a statement and said, "Do you guys know why you're listening to me tell you about your history?"
and he
said,
was Hispanic, right?
Yeah, he was like, yeah, Hispanic. Yeah, he said because I'm not black.
Yeah.
And he said, if I was a black man, it would be harder for y'all to listen to me because you really wouldn't trust. He said that's been built into you to do that. So, and here's, we have to. This is not an issue against white people. This is an issue that we have to do with
Right,
ourselves and
right.
say, hey, I got to look at each other as help and not as a hindrance. I got to look at
Right.
just somebody as maybe a level of safety, but we always look at each other as a level of danger.
Yeah.
And that's something that we have to
And
break.
we will feel more comfortable with someone who does not look like us to come and help us. But we know us better than anybody else. We know our culture. We know how we are. We know what we respond to.
Yeah.
So it would be beneficial for us to not look for that white savior.
I've had it happen to me. I'm a licensed realtor, and my my broker at the office, she was white. So I'll be dealing with somebody, and I'll tell them what it is, and they look over at her,
Oh.
and then
like
Like
you know what you're talking about.
I don't know what I'm talking about. They look at her, and she says, "Oh yeah, that's right," and they look back at me.
Like you a black ass lie.
But let me okay, so watch this. And this happens, we all have it. If you walk onto an airplane, generally you walk onto an airplane, as soon as you get onto the airplane, to the left is the cockpit, and then to the right you go to get in your seat. Okay. No matter how pro-black, no matter how for my people you are, get in the airplane and look to the left and see two black dudes there. First comes the joke. Hey, we got enough gas in this plane to get where we going, right? And we don't even know that that's psychologically.
I have never done that.
Listen. I'm telling you, I've heard it.
When I see, and I've only flown maybe twice that I've seen a black pilot. But see, I'm extremely pro-black.
But I'm telling you, I've heard it. I've been on the plane with some other brothers like, yo, they ain't put $2 on the plane. We're going to get where we're going. And the thing is that these were people
You don't call it soul plane over here.
but these were people who you know, it wasn't that they didn't consciously trust them, but subconsciously they made the joke because they didn't trust that the two brothers were going to be able to handle the situation.
Right.
So we have to break that within ourselves. You know, nobody's going to come and save us from that mindset. Yes, it was implemented onto us, but we got to break that. But
Right.
as we continue on this review of 2020, because we got to catch you guys up from what we thought of 2020 so we can go into
Yes.
the more current topics. Yeah.
So, after the coronavirus, we learned about Ahmaud Aubery.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I have to censor myself in my spirit because I am extremely exhausted with this country and the people in this country. And for those who don't know who Ahmaud Aubery is, he's the nice gentleman who was jogging in his neighborhood, and he was preyed upon, and he was gunned down and murdered by 3 white men. And I say 3 because all 3 of them were involved. Just like if I get pulled over and he's in the car, he's guilty also. If
Yeah, because I mean, I've and that's true because I got called at 3:00 in the morning to come pick her up one time because
okay,
she was in the wrong
great.
car,
Let's just go ahead and keep going. You know what? I got a story for you. Y'all just wait. If we have another show,
if this is another show coming, then I'm pretty sure she has a story.
I have lots of them. So
they all start out. One time I was at a buffet. I told y'all, listen, y'all ain't never heard nobody talk to each other like this
First
before.
of all, he feeling real good because his onesie finally fitting, and I'm happy for him. He stuffed his stuff in there, but it's Jesus, it's a lot of meat. But
keep going.
Can we get to this?
Go for it.
Okay. So what I was saying, he was murdered by these 3 white men. The part that gets, and he and I were talking about this earlier, is that, because I was saying, this happened before the coronavirus. He said it did, but we did not find this out until...
It was like 2 months later.
2 or 3 months later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Until the video came out. Okay. Let me talk to you about privilege. Privilege makes you think that you can show the world you did wrong and they're going to see that you did right.
Yeah.
Because there's no way in hell this video... Shannon, let me tell you something.
And the fact that the friend gave the video over, like...
Listen. If there's a video that me and you have possession of, it's going to the grave.
Yeah.
Okay? I'd be like, no, video. We in a video. I ain't... Listen, I don't even know how to work a camera.
And in what world did you think this was... But
that's privilege.
But the worst part about that is that the police department sat on it.
Oh, yeah. But also, that was another example of presumption of innocence.
Right.
Because if that had been the flip side around, that video would have been out so fast that if it was 3 black guys, they would have been in jail, right? Yeah. Because it would have been like, okay, guilty. But the presumption of innocence and the privilege to say, hey, I'll give you the video because I'll show you that we were right.
And here's what kills me. They said that they thought he was robbing somebody because he went into a house that was under construction. He peeped in. Even if you thought he was robbing someone, is that enough reason to lose your life? Like these people do not value our lives, and I don't understand how that this person woke up with a purpose. Do you understand? This person woke up with a purpose. God put breath in his body that morning with a purpose. This is a soul. This is a person that was created in God's image, and you think that you have the right just to take his life like nothing. And so when Wig's cousins get upset that we kneel, that we protest, this is why. Because when we say Black Lives Matter, it's just not a cute hashtag. We're really saying, hey, we matter. He matters. My husband matters. I matter. And it's such a problem for me to have to calm myself down because I start cussing people out. But I have to calm myself down and try to figure out how one's mindset is set up for you to think that it is okay to hunt somebody like their game or like their livestock. You are a predator.
Absolutely. And didn't this case remind you a lot of Trayvon Martin?
Now let me tell y'all something. Trayvon Martin is still that's a very sore spot for me. I don't know why. I feel like I do know why, but I think about Trayvon Martin. I think about Sabrina Fulton almost every day. And when I pray in the morning, I pray at night, I pray for her, for Sabrina Fulton. And I posted on my Facebook that I know hate is a very strong word, and I don't hate anybody, not even Donald Trump, except for one person, and that's George Zimmerman. Because this was a young boy, a kid, a child, walking home in the rain with a hoodie on, with Skittles and some tea. And then George Zimmerman has the audacity to go and sign bags of Skittles and auction off his gun.
Yeah.
And there are actually people in this country who think that that's okay. So I have a really big problem with these. This is probably gonna be the last podcast I'm gonna say this. With these gangsters who act like they this or like they that. Go kill George Zimmerman and then come back and talk to me, okay? And moving on.
Street cred only works when the person that needs to have it enacted is black. We had not ever saw street cred work against somebody else outside of our race, because again, that's also the self-hate that's put into our head, and it's also the fear that's put into, you know what, I ain't going over there and mess with them folk, because you know why? Because they feel if I go over there, they're gonna throw me under the jail. I can probably get away with killing Ray and Pookie in our hood. Yeah, but the thing is, people are so selfish, they not gonna go do that.
I'll do a GoFundMe for them.
You know you just did a murder for hire, right?
This may indeed be the last podcast.
I hope y'all enjoy this, because I think she just sealed our end. You can't do that.
Well, it just happened. So moving on.
Oh, God.
Breonna Taylor.
Breonna Taylor was in her home asleep. The police served a no-knock warrant and killed her. I don't know about you, but I'm going to tell you what. If I hear a foot on my door in the middle of the night, then you might kill me, but somebody coming with me.
And this is, once again, it's just so sickening to even fathom how these cops have not been charged or arrested. But they're arresting protesters left and right
and giving them felonies
and no bond.
And what is the label they're saying they are in not interrogating, they are intimidating public servants. Intimidating public servants is getting people felonies.
Let me say something. A public servant as in a cop or
they didn't even
a
say
judge,
it was a cop. I don't know. And so shout out to Portia was down there. She was arrested.
Portia, Yandy.
There was a Houston Texan.
Yeah.
That he's charged with a felony.
And his shirt is on point. He was cute too.
We're not talking about that right now.
But
yeah.
I mean,
listen, stay focused.
Mugshot look good, but
we're talking about, for them to go down there and do the protest, a peaceful protest. Yeah. And then to turn around and have them arrested and charged with felonies is just it's now at the same time that DA is posting pictures of his engagement and everything else, but he ain't got time to go down there. And then he black? Well, he's painted black, because I don't know. See, all skin folk ain't kin folk. We just get that out the way. So just because we see somebody doesn't always mean that they are culturally approved. Okay, so don't get twisted just because you see somebody with melanin in their skin. It is not always our best benefit to give everybody a benefit of the doubt, because I'm gonna tell you that I have not seen in most of the time now in modern recent history, we've seen at least some type of fake investigation or something. It seems like nothing has happened.
Nothing is happening. Like, oh, go ahead and go about your business. You can go to Walmart. You can.
But then you stop the no-knock warrant because you know it's wrong.
Well, you did a no-knock warrant at whose house?
The wrong house. Looking for a person who was what? Already arrested. And before you say that, you know, one of the reasons that, so being here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, one of the reasons that even that story resonates with us even more because of Tatiana Jefferson in Fort Worth. She was babysitting her
Nephew.
and a neighbor who knows that there was an elderly person there saw the door open and was concerned that something might have happened. So they called for a wellness check, and
A wellness check.
ended up with
A
somebody's dead.
wellness check. How do you go in? How do you go from a wellness check to a murder? And I don't know about y'all, but if I mess up at my job that bad, come on now. Like it baffles me how they can be so incompetent and act like it's nothing.
Well, if there's no consequences, most of the time it is nothing.
And that's why Black Lives Matter.
All right. So, from Breonna Taylor.
And please understand, we are still in the year 2020.
Yeah, we ain't even got out 2020 yet.
We as a matter of fact, what month is this?
This is July.
No.
Oh, you talking about as far as Breonna Taylor? Breonna Taylor was in, I want to say, this was June. Was it June? No. It was before George Floyd. So we were talking about April. It was in April. Yeah.
April.
And speaking of George Floyd, then you have George Floyd has a police kneel on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. And, you know, it's like you can't even get that number out of your head. You can recite that forwards and backwards.
Yep.
And we got a chance to see that. Now, as you see how we have built all the way up and start talking about the coronavirus, and you went to Ahmaud Aubery, you went to Breonna Taylor, you get to George Floyd. There was like this perfect storm. Everybody's sitting at home, everybody's in front of their computers and their TVs. They have all this pent up energy.
Yep.
They want to do something. They're not going to work.
Yep.
And then you get a chance, and I don't think outside of not even Rodney King, I don't think we've ever had such a close. Only thing I could think of is maybe Alton Sterling with the camera being so close, but it was like we could see all emotion and everything.
It was
the whole
like
stages.
It was like somebody was shooting a movie and we were watching a movie, and just the angle and I watched it one time and I knew I couldn't watch it again. It was the most saddest, most disturbing thing I've probably have ever seen. And you know, when you hear somebody say, "I can't breathe," not "ouch, you're hurting me," stop. I can't breathe. Breath is the source of life. Without breath, you have nothing. So if somebody says, "I can't breathe," what makes you just ignore that? And then the cops around them, and I know, you know, I'm like, man, this is the worst training day ever.
Yo, and yeah, we watched a movie called Training Day, and then you say, well, all those are rookie cops. And, okay, so, I don't know. I might get killed for this, but...
Well, it really will be the last podcast. I can't work all this shit, so...
But...
Don't die.
It is, I kill you, you die, I kill you. To have 3 rookie cops not knowing their elbows from their assholes, and to have this guy who has over 18 write-ups on him training them, but he's supposed to be the all-knowing, all-authority. So you start asking yourself, where does human compassion outweigh your own career?
And exactly.
There's a line in there, and I know they thought about it, but I don't think they was really expecting him to die.
Well, here's the thing, because, and maybe this is just me, I can't stand to see people in distress. No matter what it is. If you're my mortal enemy and you say that you're hungry, I got to feed you. And sometimes that's hard for me.
Donald Trump getting some food at your house? Keep going.
Donald Trump.
I just wanted. Hey, I just wanted to keep
If
it
Donald
100.
Trump said he was hungry, it was really hungry, I would feed him. Only person I would let starve is George Zimmerman.
I would like to see that.
Me too. But it's
These pork chops were really good, Shannon. Billions and billions of people eat pork chops every day. You never had pork chops as good. These are the best pork chops I've ever had.
Nobody's eating pork chops the way I've eaten these pork chops. I promise you, he's the worst thing ever. Like this was America's response to Barack Obama.
Oh yeah, this was the emotional response and the retaliation for Barack Obama.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but we can get, if we have another show, we can get into that.
All right.
What I was saying though, when you hear this grown man cry out, "I can't breathe," when he calls for his mother, your automatic response as a human is to move, to help somebody when they're calling out, "I can't breathe," because he's not saying, "Oh man, I can't breathe." It's, "I can't breathe." In 8 minutes and 46 seconds, 8 minutes.
Yeah.
8 minutes.
That was pretty rough to watch. To see somebody have the life literally leave their body. And I'm gonna tell you something. By the time he was calling his mama, I believe he was already out.
Gone, yeah.
He was already out.
She was coming to. I really believe that. Now, what I will say, we talk about what is this generation? This young generation.
This is I don't know.
They crazy.
Yeah.
We talk about this crazy generation.
Yeah.
However, big ups to them, because this generation, they don't care about the decorum, or
they're here for it.
They here for all of it.
Yeah.
And had it not been for them going out protesting and pushing for change, and I say this lightly, but I knew that it was a shift in the atmosphere when I started getting all of these emails from these different companies that I had, purchased items from, with these Black Lives Matter messages.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now remember, Black Lives Matter was supposed to be a hate group a couple of years ago.
Yeah, hate group, terrorist group.
Terrorist group.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh. And at first I'm like, they're patronizing us, so they're trying to appease us. And then I remember checking my work email on a Sunday, and my CEO sent out this long email about and I saw Black Lives Matter in that email probably 16 times. And I said, huh, had it not been for those young people, we would not be here today. We would not be at this point.
And Black Lives Matter is it's an organization, right?
It is.
I wonder, let me ask you this question. Do you resonate more with the organization or the slogan?
I resonate more with the slogan.
I think most black people do.
Yeah.
I think it's what we want to come from, making people recognize that Black Lives Matter more so than the organization, because now I have, started to do some digging on the actual organization, and I have to really go back and sit down and see, okay, what is it that I agree with and what is it I don't agree with? But at the end of the day, when you see black people saying Black Lives Matter, it's kind of like when you wear a team hat or a jersey that's not your favorite team. You have it on, but that doesn't mean that you root for them, right?
It's kind of like how this is really going to be the last podcast I'm going to say this. Maybe not, maybe so. But if you come for me, guess what? I don't care. Okay. No, it's not going to be that bad.
Okay.
It's kind of like how we all love Farrakhan, but
we ain't Muslims.
We a Nation of Islam.
Yeah.
So that's not that bad.
Yeah, that's
not that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to say something else, but I toned it down.
I'm glad you did.
Okay.
I'm glad you did. We might get a show too.
But so because I don't always agree with everything or his beliefs, but when I hear Farrakhan talk, I listen.
Exactly.
And so when I see Black Lives Matter, but when I see Black Lives Matter there's something I get a visceral reaction, and it speaks to my spirit because just those three words are so powerful. And Black Lives Matter is just not for my life or your life. It's for my ancestors who were strong enough to make it so that I would have a lifeline that strong enough to make it so their bloodline would live on. Their Black lives mattered. And it starts from those slaves those Africans.
Yeah, we're Africans before they were slaves.
Okay, let me ask you this. Let me ask you a question.
Let's go.
So how come Africa didn't wage war and come over and get us?
You in this blame game about Africa.
I'm not blaming Africa. I just feel like Africa shares some of the blame.
Okay, so let me know what internet they were going to look on to go find out what the hell was going on in America. Who called them on what cell phone?
Okay. Don't act like that the Africans were just were these unintelligent people. I mean, you knew some. Okay.
Yeah. Unintelligent is not the word, but we're saying.
So when they came and got the first set of Africans, the African slave owners gave them their slaves.
Mm-hmm.
So when they came back and got your black ass, how come y'all didn't wage a war on them then?
Okay.
Because
now here's the question. Now you brought up some information that I didn't know. You said that they came in because Africans did have slaves. They were either criminals, they were in debt, or they
treated their and let me
they
just
also
say
had
this.
some rights too.
I've because I troll a lot of Republican groups. I troll a lot of white supremacist groups because you need to know who your enemy is, right? And one of the things that they love to say is, well, hey, there were once white slaves and Jews were slaves and da da da. The American slave is probably the worst treated. The Jew, at least the Jewish slaves, were able to.
You know what happened when Nick Cannon said something about Jews now? So,
well, we'll get to that later. What I'm saying is that the way that the black slaves were treated in America, in the Americas, was horrible.
Yes.
Okay. And it ain't like Africa found out about it 400 years later when it was over. No, they knew.
Okay. Now, did they have the means to come across the water? Did they first? And then if you came back and got the people who sold you the first slaves, but then there was no mass communication. It's not like everybody knew, like, oh snap, Zulu is gone.
Let me tell you something.
I don't think you can sit here and say, why didn't they wage war?
If Christopher Columbus can get lost, so can we. We can get lost somewhere over there. Find out.
But how did they know what was going on over here? They didn't know.
Okay, so when did they find out, TJ?
Hell, I don't know, but they didn't know then.
Well, when they found out, they should have still went ahead and waged a war.
With what?
Damn it, I want Africa
Listen, the Europeans came with guns. That's how the Indians lost the shit. They was like a bow and arrow, cute. Watch this. I got a musket.
Can I just say this? This might be the last podcast because after this, it's gonna be over.
We don't know.
Everything that the Europeans and their people have ever touched, they have brought destruction, disease, devastation.
This last one.
Every culture that they have touched, you think about it. Moving on. So after George
Thank you
Floyd,
folks for watching this one.
we had the black
last one because yeah. So keep going.
So we had the Black Lives Matter, the Black Lives Matter movement and the protesting, and that led to
the Karen's been running amok. Okay, Karens.
the damn Karens.
Calm down.
And I always say, see, God know it really is true. God will only put you in a situation that He know you can handle. Cause my dear friend with him and his little extra large, extra small onesie.
His shirt ain't that damn small, okay?
I can see your heartbeat, but it's okay. I can tell you're lactating right now, but that's okay. So,
okay.
He expressed to me earlier last week, he's upset at how Black women are handling Karens. You care to?
I do. I think we're giving too many respectful ass whoopings. Okay. When you get a chance to get your hands on the racist, then sisters, I'm gonna need you to drop your purse, and I'm gonna need you to stomp a mud hole in that ass. Okay. I need.
Are you inciting violence?
No. When you get your hands, which means you've already made the decision. I'm just saying, don't stop. Don't punch with one hand. Punch with two hands. Use your foot. You know how we do.
That Black lady tore that lady ass up
with one hand.
It don't matter. She tore her ass up.
I don't want to give reverence while we are whooping said ass. I need you to go all the way in. Now, so do it for the culture, okay? Because you got to do it for your ancestors, because guess what? They could. A lot of them couldn't. A lot of them said, look, I don't want my family to suffer this torture, so I'm not going to beat Master Karen and Master. I'm not going to do that, but we can, okay? So I'm saying if you have made the decision, because they ain't got nothing to do with me. But if you have made the decision when somebody is going to be racist towards you and they're going to come over and call you a name or cough in your face or just, step on your property and tell you you're not supposed to be living here, if you make the decision, what I'm saying is I need you to reach all the way back. I need you to go. I want you always to feel like Africa got your back. So I need you to reach to Ghana. I need you to reach to the Congo. Reach to the Sudan, and I need you to come all the way across that chin. Okay?
So what he's saying is,
come on,
beat that ass. Now I will say this: if I ever come across a Karen, I'm gonna have that same energy. I'm gonna make you real proud. You understand me?
Listen,
I'm gonna make you real proud.
I'm gonna stand there 10 toes down and be like,
that's my
out. That's my out.
It would be a first time offense for me. I just saw John Wiley Price at the Sankofa. Shout out to Sankofa. My husband eats there every day. So I feel like we locked eyes and waved. So I feel like he would have my back. I'm ready to get out of jail.
Well, John always trying to keep himself out of jail right now, so he might can't get you out. Cause
this is the.
I'm not saying
John is Teflon.
I'm not saying John did nothing wrong. I say he just makes sure he keeps himself out. Cause listen, Teflon John is a don around this mug. But all I'm saying is
he really is Teflon John.
Yeah, listen,
let me tell you something.
When the feds come for you, it's usually because they got a case that they don't lose. The feds are like, damn.
The feds came for him and he turned their asses right around. Let me tell you something. I want to be like
they took everything out of John Wiley Price's house, $120,000 worth of cash. They say, we got him. They give all that money back and say, we sorry, John. We ain't got nothing on you. I said, I don't know how.
You know what? Let me tell you a quick little story. I attended Northwood University back in the day when I was in school, my first school. And
she's been in a lot of.
I have.
Still dumb as hell. She's been to a lot of schools, y'all.
So.
Career student.
This is true. So we were coming up on Black Lives Matter on Black History Month, right? Mm-hmm. And Northwood was not like this hugely diverse, campus at all. It was like maybe a handful of Black people. Like I could probably count on.
Yeah, I think I met them all.
Yeah, I believe you did. They're all in my apartment. So the Black people wanted John Wiley Price to come speak at Northwood for Black History Month, for our Black History program. The white people had a fit. Mm-mm. When I tell you a fit, we had this like emergency town hall And the professors were like, he is a racist. He's a race baiter, da da da. And all the black people were like, he's our God.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Not John.
Not John. Needs to say John.
John didn't make it on campus. Okay.
John didn't make it on campus.
Nah,
John didn't make it on campus.
Nah, he didn't make it.
But they had the Black History Month program, and none of the black people showed up.
Well, and before we get off the Karens, I just want to say that the Karens, they started their movement a little while ago. You remember we had Picnic Patty, where the black people were trying to have a picnic. And then you had the lady down in Houston where the family was just trying to take some pictures. And she rolled up on them.
Well, let me just say, the Karens, the Karens are the reason why we have an Emmett Till. The Karens have actually shaped this country.
It's the reason that the bird watcher guy.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what?
Now, he's a bird watcher, so we can't hold it against him. But
Mr. Birdwatch up in New York, how in the hell did you not want to press charges back on her when she was ready to end you?
Yeah. Because they call us savages. They call us animals. They call us thugs. They call us heartless, whatever. But black people are the most loving, compassionate, and most forgiving people on earth.
Absolutely.
That is just who we are inherently. It is not, and contrary to what they have tried to tell us who we are and try to paint that picture. That's why when you meet a white person who is open-minded, who it really is not prejudiced, who is not racist, and they come into the black community, they come into the fold, into a black family, they are like blown away.
Oh man, my cousin, and I say my cousin, and she's married to my cousin, but she's my cousin. She's like, yo, I'm good here.
Yeah.
Cause
we will bring you in. We will take you in. We're gonna feed you. We're gonna take over your kids. Like that is a communal thing. That is what black people do. That is our culture.
Yeah.
And so these Karens.
And by Karen, she means the racist white ladies, not all white, just the ones that are racist.
Right. I mean, we know who the Karens are by now.
Everything listen, you got to understand. We're pointing out the worst, and we're saying that it is some people who, just like with cops. I know some cops that are super cool that'll be like, hey man, I'm looking out for y'all to make sure this don't happen. Then you got some that say, I want to slam your face to the ground.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to understand. And then they try to say Karen is a racist word. Well, no, because we're not talking about all white women. We're talking about the ones who intentionally says, I'm going to end whatever you got going on.
And if you think Karen is a racist word, well, you've been saying the N-word all this time. Sit back. Let us get a little something in. So anyway, Karens, don't ever come across me because I'm going to be jazzed. Next.
All right.
So that basically has led us up until this point.
Current events is what we're going to get into. So we summarized 2020, right?
Yes.
And so this is our first show. We wanted to come in and just kind of talk about some of the things that are going on that we have not had a chance to talk about publicly. But, now we'll start to be able to talk about things that are happening presently. Yeah. And so there's another topic that Shannon is not too fond of discussing.
No.
She's tired of everybody discussing it. And
I am.
She is like, you know what? Why are we spending so much energy on this? But I always laugh because I was like, wait a minute. How many posts of the Real Housewives that I see you post? How many posts?
Actually, I don't post Real Housewives.
You have posted Real Housewives.
I don't post a lot of Real Housewives
shows, Married to Medicine, and all this other stuff.
No.
You post about other people's lives all the time. But
I want you to do a search and bring it up next if we have a next show.
But right now, everybody has been talking about Will and Jada. Oh, God. And the entanglement.
Okay, ninjas. Y'all learn one word and completely. I got so tired of saying y'all can't even spell your own kids' names right, but you want to just blast entanglement.
It's funny.
It is not funny.
It is funny the way she used it because he even called her out.
He did. It is ridiculous. Okay, and let me tell you why it's ridiculous. First of all, we're a bunch of broke people discussing rich people's problems.
Is that not what happens all day, every day?
No.
Yes, it is.
So,
why do you watch reality shows?
Because I love to see dysfunction.
Okay, what's the damn difference?
Listen. I watch them. I don't go. The only thing that I've obsessed with here lately was Hamilton.
What's up with this guy? This your pregnant pause is to the cat. Listen, you watch the shows, whether you post about them or not, which I've seen.
He has.
But you're watching shows of people who make more money on their show than you make. So you a person sitting at home watching richer people dysfunction.
Okay.
This was put on blast for the general public.
It was put on blast by August, whatever his last name. Okay. And I guess Jada felt some type of way and needed to come and clear the space, clear the air. Me personally, I would have kept it moving because August, I seen us sitting up there looking like he didn't let his twist out dry properly. Like he had colored his hair with prison Kool-Aid. I would have just not even addressed it. But since they addressed it, here we go. Okay. My issue with this is everybody, mostly the men, keep saying, you see how Jada cheated on Will? Jada cheated on Will. Okay. Let's bring some context to this thing, right?
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's go.
Years ago, when it was said that they had an open marriage, y'all thought that was cute. Oh, y'all like, okay, well, y'all like that. Yeah, okay. When we would constantly hear rumors about Will
not
and
fact.
his.
You heard rumors, but not fact. Keep going.
We would constantly hear rumors about Will and his women. Y'all didn't say nothing. Okay? Now, in the interview, Will said, I was done with your ass. She said, yeah, you were done. And he said, and I didn't think I was going to ever speak to you again. Yep. And she said, and after that, I got into an entanglement.
An entanglement?
And he said, Jada, no, what is entanglement? She was like, yeah, you know.
I just said it. I said, well, you know, we did. I got into an entanglement.
So my question is,
he mean a relationship.
How did she cheat on him if
they were still married?
And a lot of people, well,
the Lord said
they were still married. However, some of y'all mamas and daddies, grandmas and grandpas been split up forever. You go over to your grandmama's house and she over there with Mr. Ben, and you go over to your granddaddy house and he with Miss Erlene, but your mama, your papa still, your grandma, and your papa still together. And your mom over there with Tony Earl, and your dad over there with Shirley.
You don't know these folks. Okay? You don't know these folks. You don't know who they with or where they been. All right. So
I feel like had we not been in an entanglement with racist white America right now, maybe this would have been okay. I don't know. I think it's really ridiculous. However, I just feel like there's so much stuff going on.
Shannon really always says black people are
we are multidimensional, but we are multidimensional when it comes to things like black on black crime and white people just killing us.
There's no such thing as black on black crime.
Exactly. That's my point.
So all I'm saying is this. Okay, so let's really break it down. This is what it was. Will, and you saw he looked like
Will looked like he had
He looked like that character when he played in Hitch when he got allergic or something. His eyes were swole, like he was. I don't know if he was crying. I don't know if he was like, God dang, like he just finished that scene with Uncle Phil. Why she don't want me, man? But Will now has to. I'm gonna give you the man's perspective. Will now has to defend his ego in public. Yes, okay, their marriage was open. The rumors say Will was with co-stars. Ain't not one of them ever came out to the public and said this is what happened. And so now, if you think about the movie Girls Trip, when the character that Regina Hall played, when she had her husband who was like, listen, I know you mess with old girl, but keep it on the low for the image. Will is very image conscious.
I don't like Girls Trip.
I know. You we're not talking about that right
mediocre
now.
At best.
So in that movie, she was like, yo, she was more mad at him because his stuff came out. Will now as a man is getting clowned, right? So he didn't do the cheating as a fact that you know, but he is now getting clowned by a lot of people. And Will has to come out and do that publicly. That is his biggest issue. And that's what guys are looking at.
Will said, well, you know I'm gonna get you back right. She said, you already did. He said, oh. No, and she said you already did. She said she said I don't think it's about getting each other back. He said for me it is. She said but you already did. He said he said but I'm gonna get you back for this. She said okay with your pet ass.
Okay, so for this, what is this? This is making me come on national TV and defend my ego. But baby, you can. But he
didn't have to come. She could have said at the red table and said he didn't have to come on there with the swollen eyes.
That's the image. Listen, Will is he's very perception and image driven. Will had to come on there so they can say, okay, this was 4 years ago. We went through this. It's over. We thought it was our own in-house stuff.
What I love about
listen. Let's be real.
Jada didn't ask for none of this. Little boy.
Jada did ask for this.
She did not.
No. Listen, come on. Now you want to talk about men being dogged? How many times if a man double the age of a girl who was just put out of the house and don't know where to go and all this other stuff and takes advantage of her mentally? I know legally, age-wise, he was an adult, but just mentally. We always say, look at him, why is he doing that? Jada took advantage of a dude who needed her help. And she said what?
She helped him.
She had the healing powers, okay? I'm pretty sure he was a lot better once it was all over. But Jada said, I just wanted to feel good. No, August needed to feel good because y'all said he came to, and I'm going to tell you this.
Maybe,
telltale sign.
Maybe after she healed him.
Telltale sign. Watch this. Telltale sign. Them sleeping together was not Will's issue. It was that it went public. I'm going to tell you why. Because he was able to say his name, and he was able to allow Jada to say his name. Because I'm going to tell you, in that situation...
And they didn't even call him August.
In that situation, your boy right here, say his name again. I'm going to come across the goddamn red tape and slap the shit out of you, okay? Say his name again. Listen, when you say the month of the year, you better skip to September. Say August again. But he was like,
so it's the public embarrassment.
The public embarrassment. When he said I said, huh? And then she said, yeah, I was entangled with August all the way through. And he is not a homewrecker. And so I said, oh, it ain't about the sex. It's about that this went public. That is the biggest reason that he had a problem with it, because that's why he was like, I'm going to get you back, because guess what? You not got me on Front Street. You ain't, listen, Brad Pitt wouldn't have said nothing. Idris wouldn't have said nothing. LL Cool J wouldn't have said nothing, but you had to go get with this dude who went out and put our business in the street.
She cannot control
She can control Cooter.
What August said. She cannot control
what she put on August.
Well, let me tell you something. Okay. I'm not knocking Jada.
Why not?
Because, first of all,
she smashed her kid's homeboy. Yo, that's
Mrs. Robinson.
I mean, I ain't saying that as a fantasy from a guy's perspective, but she smashed her son's homeboy.
Have you seen him in his underwear?
No, I have not.
Well, then you'll know why she smashed. So, can we dead this conversation?
Okay.
Can we put entanglement to bed?
Entanglement is a funny word. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's not going nowhere.
Will and Jada said that Will told Jada he can love her through anything. And I have been married. It'll be 12 years on the 26th.
Mm-hmm.
You've been married. It'll be
12 years in December.
Okay. Anybody who sit up here and act like marriage is not for the faint of heart at all. And I love my husband to death. Like, that's my ride or die. Like, that's my boy. Like, I am extremely, overprotective of him. Like, but it's not like you haven't. No, we ain't Will and Jada. Don't go there. Don't email me or send me no messages about this, because I'm gonna cuss you and your mama out. What I'm saying is that I can't sit back and judge what somebody has done within their marriage, because marriage it's like a roller coaster. And
ups and downs.
It has its ups and downs, and nobody is perfect. No marriage is perfect. So I can't judge her on her choices, and I can't judge him on his choices within their marriage, because I'm not in their marriage. And I wish the people who keep saying what they would and would have done, you can't even get your child support right.
Shannon, stop it. It's a reason that reality show is number one on TV. This was just a reality show for people.
And it sucked. Moving on. Nick Cannon. So I just learned this today that Viacom, MTV, VH1, fired CBS, BET, mm-hmm. And a lot of people were saying, "Well, just go to BET." BET was bought by Viacom a long time ago. Yep. We are not black owned over there. That's just anyway. Nick Cannon was fired because of some
anti-Semitic stuff he said.
Well, I'm going to say this.
Uh-oh. Hey. Last one, Doc. It's been real, y'all.
It's been real.
We wasn't showing out.
So, Nick Cannon.
They already fired that boy over there. You trying to go down that same path?
He called the white people savages and animals or something like that.
And I think that's where his mistake came in at.
Because here's the thing. Did y'all know the show was going to be called Here's the Thing?
It was going to be called Here's the Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we say Here's the Thing a lot.
But Alec Baldwin already had that. Shout out to you, Alec Baldwin. And the only reason I'm saying that is because of your rendition of Trump on Saturday Night Live. So I'm going to let you have that.
And I love it's complicated. Anyway, if anybody white would have, and they've said it before, anyways, but if anybody white would have, I saw a post somebody said, if Jimmy Kimmel would have said black people were animals and savages, he would be gone. He would not even have a chance to even explain himself. And I understand that. It does work both ways. And I know we have freedom of speech, but freedom of speech is not free, because you have to still pay the consequences.
Yeah.
And, and I think that really was,
like I said, when you state history and you are able to have factual evidence of history, is one thing. It's another thing when you start to put labels on people, especially in a public space.
Right.
And so when you start to do that, like you said, it's the same thing that happened with Deshaun Jackson of the Philadelphia Eagles when, he said a quote or retweeted a quote that was attributed to Hitler. Now, the thing is that they said ultimately they don't think Hitler said it, but it was attributed to him. So when you put those two together, that's not going to work. Okay.
What was it? I can tell you if Hitler said it or not.
I don't remember what it said, but he reposted something and he followed it behind something that the Minister Farrakhan said. And so they put that and said, hey, you can't say that. All right.
Well, see, I have a problem with, and if they are upset that he called white people animals and savages, they should be. But if he's saying that black people were the original Hebrews and Israelites and the people over there are not true Jews, That's not really anti-Semite, though, is it? I
Um,
mean, it's an anti-Semitic. I don't know.
I don't know. I'll say I don't know because I don't have the factual historical data to say yay or nay.
Right.
Okay, and I can't sit here and say here is the books and here's the things that says that. But I don't think, like I said, I don't think that was the thing. I think that was a compound type situation.
Okay.
I don't think that was the thing that got it when you said, well, hey, the animals and savages and things like that. And who's not going to hear that and say, because here's the thing, there is no, this, I guess, there's no way to combat that. You can't say, well, no, in 16, this and that just happened. When you start to say, hey, you're this, well, then somebody in present day is going to say, well, okay, so you're saying that I am an animal and savage, right?
Right.
And then we know throughout the course of this nation, as much as we have dealt with racism, then if we go back and look at a lot of those marches and the civil rights movement, we go back and think about the Underground Railroad, there were a lot of white people who played pivotal parts in helping us. So are you going back and saying that this person is that?
Right.
So that's where the clarification comes in.
I think when we use those general terms, because we don't like it when it happens to us as black
Exactly.
people. I think you have to be more responsible for your words, especially since you have a platform.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah, kind of not like what we've done this whole show, or at least what Shannon's done this whole show. I've been good.
I've actually been pretty good. But if y'all wanna go find George Zimmerman, let me know. However,
higher, you can't do that.
I just did.
Oh my God! If he comes up dead, I had nothing to do with that.
Let me tell you something. We gonna party like it's. My shirt says "Let's go crazy." That's what's gonna happen.
How long you had this shirt?
Why?
I can tell you used to be able to wear it.
Well, it's not a onesie. I bet it took you about 5 minutes to snap between those legs.
Here we go. Okay, you're sitting here looking like Cleo from Set It Off with these damn straight back braids in your head.
Oh, here
okay?
we go. Here we go.
See, we talking about Black Power. We can't do this right now.
You just make sure you go get your breast pump done before you go home, leaking all that milk. So,
Listen,
Diddy.
that's why your liposuction didn't take hold yesterday. And you got to go back and do another COVID test.
Take hold.
Hey, that's a funny story. We'll talk about that in a minute. Keep going.
So Diddy has offered Nick Cannon
Yes.
to come over to Revolt.
Yep.
And
Because he said that's a totally black
totally black.
conversation.
Now, which I love, and here's why. Fox News is a safe space for racists.
Very safe space.
Very safe space. And they can they have really called us animals and savages on Fox News without really any repercussions or anything like that.
Did your boy call them girls nap-headed hoes?
Yeah, but that
Was
wasn't
Fox News?
No, that was
Who broadcast his radio show?
Maybe it was an affiliate of Fox. Yeah.
But Fox News used to broadcast his show live.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, he said that on Fox News in the morning.
You were very excited about that, Don Imus.
I was excited, but did he get fired?
No, you were excited that he called somebody.
I was not.
And then you pulled up the picture and said, "Hey Shannon."
There's no proof of that.
Hey Shannon.
There's no proof of that.
I took a gander at those pictures.
Really?
It really wasn't never head hoes. I was like, "Oh my God, you can't say that."
There's no proof of that. I deny that.
Let me tell you something. I am not a liar, and that is not a lie.
I did not that. I didn't say anything about
denied.
that. I did not. Keep going.
Okay.
Why you lying on me right here in front of other people?
So I'm very excited that he has found a home and he can a safe space, because sometimes I feel like we need a safe space, because Fox is heavily protected, like and they say all types of stuff on Fox, and some shows may have dog whistles. Some shows just be straight out. The next step is the N-word. I promise you. They probably said it.
The one thing they get a chance to do is a lot of stuff you hear on Fox News has come out. They get a chance to say, we don't need your approval because we don't need your money. And so, but black people in general have never really been in that power to say, we don't need your approval because we don't need your money. So yes, Nick Cannon, you can come over here and do this show because I don't need your money.
Yeah.
And I don't need your approval because I can do what I want.
Right.
And so I think that's where you're looking at when you start talking about, even in the playing field. Do I sit here and say that I agree with Nick? No, I don't. But do I like the fact that
he can
Diddy is able to say, hey, you can come over here? Yes, I do, because guess what? People have said terrible things and still got an opportunity to be on Fox News, and we've had to see them come back on the air, after their promo trip of saying I'm sorry.
Okay, like Tucker Carlson, who I honestly feel like mama and daddy were brothers, first line generation, brothers and sisters.
So you're saying his family tree don't split?
Not at all.
Straight up and down.
Not even a leaf. Like, it's just one whole damn branch, trunk. Okay. So Tucker Carlson, if y'all don't know if y'all heard or not, his head writer, was fired from Fox because he was in some type of social media group or whatever, but he was like had all these racist, homophobic, misogynistic, or misogynistic comments or whatever. And he was fired. Of course, Tucker Carlson tried to act like he was, we do not allow that here. But the guy said, well, everything that I write, Tucker Carlson, he reads like on the teleprompter. Those are my words, and he reads those words with confidence and such conviction because he believes everything that we had the same beliefs, and I know that the man was, and the only reason why the man was probably fired right now is because we were right in the middle, or we coming off of this Black Lives Matter, thing, and Fox is trying to act like they're tolerant, I guess. But Tucker Carlson is taking like a vacation, extended vacation, a couple of days, whatever, blah blah blah. But this happens to him all the time. Because he's completely racist, and he has a nice full head of hair, and he
what does that have to do with
I don't know, but he has like nice hair. So he has this safe space, and what happens is he says what he wants to say. He goes off a couple of days, and he comes back, and he's just the same old racist Tucker Carlson, and Fox News just keeps paying him, and he's sitting comfortable in his safe space. And whether I agree with what all Nick Cannon said or not, that man need his safe space. Us as black people, we need our safe space. We need to be able to, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, we need to be able to express how we feel based off of our experiences, based off of how they can do it. I'm glad that he and Viacom parted ways, because I have my own differences with Viacom. But and he has been with them since he's 17.
Oh, he's been with them for a long time. Probably longer than that.
And he said that in his statement. And to me, that was saying, well, I done made all my money now, so no matter.
I got my money.
Yeah. And
now and with the internet, you don't really need an entity to lord over you anymore.
You don't.
You can go and create your own space. He has his own podcast.
Right.
And so he can monetize his podcast. He can monetize other opportunities. So he's probably feeling like, okay, again, I don't need, he posted a quote from, I think Shirley Chisholm. He said, I am unbossed, unbothered, and I can't remember the third thing, but he was pretty much saying that I'm not beholden to anybody because I have enough money.
He said, you can't fire a boss.
Yeah.
And that's true. You cannot fire a boss. He has, and as corny as Nick Cannon is, Nick Cannon is a powerhouse when you think about his, some of the things that he's done, and I think we think he's corny because he's not. I mean, Nick Cannon's corny.
I like Nick. Okay.
I like Nick too. I like Nick because Nick has been very consistent in
But you know, I'm gonna
and
tell you this.
he married Mariah Carey. Like
That's a whole other story. But I like Nick, and yeah, in the hood street talk, whatever you say, man, Nick is corny, but Nick is respected. And
okay,
until
so
he drops the album.
you should feel that way about
Until
Sierra's husband then, because you think he's just super corny.
Oh, Russ is corny. He's a cornball.
But he's respected. Russ is not a cornball. What Russ is a true man.
Russ is a cornball. And I'm not taking anything away from his man. I'm not taking anything away from that.
Why is he a cornball?
Listen, some dudes are just corny, and that's not a knock against them. But I'm telling you,
so is corny not a negative thing no more?
No, it's just a description. Like
I don't think Russ is corny.
Like, listen, without Sierra,
I think Chris Rock is corny.
The hair and the clothes, that's all Sierra's doing. Because see, dudes remember that Hawaiian shirt and that ugly girl he had with the draft. If you're going into the NFL draft and you're going to be a top pick, then you should have been able to pull more than that. But that was your level until the money came, and then you was able to get a Sierra. No knock on Russ, but that what you took to the draft. I mean, she might be a sweet person, but we saw the pictures, and we say, that's you. Then Russ, Super Bowl winner, NFL player, this and that, then, yeah, you're able to get, Sierra. And I'm pretty sure Russ is a cool, nice dude and all that other stuff. But, like...
Russ has good energy.
But let me tell you this. Now, sisters don't like corny dudes. Russ, as the enterprise manager...
I think you're pretty corny.
Won't... He not.
So this is true.
He not getting.
Tamara felt sorry for you.
Listen, no, I ain't corny. Okay. Anyway,
your parents paid her.
Shout out to Dick. Shout out to Diddy. We know that you about, huh?
You said Diddy.
Diddy.
Oh.
Yeah. Shout out to Nick. Shout out to Diddy.
Oh, Nick.
What you thought I said? Shout out to them for making their moves.
Yeah.
And I mean. They'll deal with whatever comes their way or whatever. I just think that when we have a platform, and I know we talk and we have fun here on the show and things like that, but you have a platform, you kind of got to understand that to be able to call somebody animals and savages, it's not going to bode well.
No.
For you.
Especially when you're talking, I mean, Jews run Hollywood, so Jews kind of run everything. But
that's kind of what got him in trouble with saying that, right? They got Jay-Z for that when Jay-Z on his song was talking about how they got mad at Jay-Z too. So Jay-Z just don't work for nobody, so they couldn't come. They couldn't come out. Yeah.
But you know what? But like you said, you still have to be mindful of. You have this platform. Mm-hmm. You can't just call people animals and savages unless you're talking about Donald Trump and his family.
And with that being said, we went longer tonight because
we did.
This is our first show. We wanted to.
I don't know who that one person is that's watching, but thank you.
Shout out to them. The numbers were higher earlier.
They were.
But
the comments.
Shout out to them. I don't know. I got about 9 different pages running over here.
Okay.
But thank you guys so much for watching this first edition of The Last Podcast.
One more thing before we go.
Okay.
Go vote. And I know primary voting is over with. Mm-hmm. We have no time to play. We have to vote. And if you like my shirt, give me a comment because I love Prince.
That had nothing to do with nothing. And the reason we are saying go vote is it's Shay. Shout out Shay. And before we get out of here, these glasses. To see The Last Podcast on them.
Can y'all see?
They were done by
the boss lady.
The boss lady, and so you can find her on Instagram under. Is this
Shay, drop your information.
Yeah, drop your information into this, and then we can share it back out. She was able to bless us with these glasses, so we'll
appreciate
have her name The Last Podcast. This might be the last time we ever drink these on air somewhere, but we got them for now. That's all that matters. We got them for now, and also if we get another show, we'll talk about why Shannon had to do her coronavirus test twice. Not a happy subject for her to talk about, but it's hilarious to me because I laughed so hard. I'll just tell you right now, they didn't store her test right, so it was invalid.
Let me tell my
so
story.
She couldn't
Let
get
me
a
tell my
liposuction.
truth.
She was supposed to get liposuction.
And first of all, if I was supposed to get liposuction, I don't give a damn about the coronavirus. I was going to get it. Okay. I was supposed to have just a minor procedure. I'm not going to tell you why because it's HIPAA. It's endoscopy, basically. And so you have to go 48 hours before your procedure to get the coronavirus test. That is the worst test ever. My nose still hurts. Like right now when I touch it, it still hurts. No lie. And I had a full-on panic attack when it happened. Like I had to really sit in my spot and get myself together for like 30 minutes before I could drive home from Arlington to DeSoto. And so I'm thinking Tuesday, I'm going to get up and go get my endoscopy, come on back home and mind my business like a nice American should, right? So I got a phone call Monday, and when the lady, and I see it's the surgery center, and I'm like, hi. She's like, hi, Shannon. I'm like, how you doing today? She was like, well, and so she was beating around the bush, and I'm thinking, oh, this heifer is about to tell me I tested positive. So almost like I thought she was going to tell me I got AIDS or something. I was so nervous because she was like, well, first of all, we really want to say we appreciate you coming out Friday to get the corona test done, and we know it was you were in the heat and you had to wait because they come to your car to do it. And I'm like, well, we were in the heat, I have my AC on, but yeah, girl, it's no problem, you know. And she's like, so unfortunately, and I heard that unfortunately, then she paused. I was like, oh, she's about to tell me you tested positive and you can't. And I was gonna be like, oh Jesus, I done been around like a lot of people. And she said, well, all the tests that were done on Friday were not viable because, I mean, we packed it in ice, but we know not to use a lockbox anymore. And so she's talking. I'm like, well, what is she really trying to say? Like, my mind is not processing. What is she trying to tell you, Shannon? What is this? I said, so are you telling me that I can't have my surgery? No, we're rescheduling. I said, okay. And then it dawns on me, your test is not viable. That means they can't, it was a bad test. They can't even, I said, so I have to take this test over again? And she said, yeah. And I was like, I'm not taking this damn test over again. I called her some choice words and then hung up.
So you gotta do it again?
I gotta do it again. I gotta do it again tomorrow. I might go live and do it.
I think I stick the thing back up your nose.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go to this nostril now. This nostril. I feel like she punctured my maxillary sinuses or something. Like it's damaged. Listen, it hurts.
When I heard that, I was so tickled.
You go straight to hell.
I was like, she had talked about how bad this test hurt and to know that she has to do it again. And some of you might say, well, damn, that's not nice of you to laugh at her to have to do
He's not
that
a nice
again.
person
But
at
let me
all.
let you know something. I was up for a promotion at work one time. And so what happened is they made a mistake.
Don't make me howl.
And gave it to me. But the mistake was actually going to somebody else. So I was awarded it, and then it was like, hey, again, that promotion you got is not viable. It goes to him. This one right here, thought it was the funniest she ever heard in her damn life.
Wait a minute.
And then go on a world tour and tell everybody about it, right?
Wait a minute. And when I was telling people, they would be like, well, Shannon, that's not funny. I'm like, yes, the hell. He really thought he had that promotion. And it was funny is the guy who actually got it was like, what did he say? So,
yeah, I think they made a mistake. I think it's mine, not yours.
God. Oh, God.
And she thought it was so funny. So, Miss Me.
Thank you for reminding me of that. I'm going to go home and laugh.
About me laughing at her about any mishaps that she
funny.
has to go through, okay? Because I did. I thought it was mine. I was excited about it. And she was like, and I heard on the phone, she was like, wait, what? So you've been walking around talking about, yeah, I got it?
Yeah. I can see him. What's up? Oh, you know I got it. You know? Oh, what's up? Hey, you know.
Yeah. So
And then what happened?
I take full enjoyment of laughing at her pain as much as she has laughed at mine. Okay?
Well, as you can tell by his girth, he's had a lot of pain, but
And that right there is a wrap on the last podcast.
thank you guys for
hanging out
tuning
with us.
in, for hanging out with us on
Yeah.
our first one. We've been here for a while.
Yeah.
But we really appreciate it. And I had a lot of fun.
I had a lot of time. I had
A lot of time.
a lot of fun.
Got a lot of girth too. Cheers to the last podcast, because
We don't know if we're gonna be back next week.
just don't know.
Just don't know. So you could have just watched
The last podcast.
See you guys next week, hopefully.
Go vote.